black FBI director pulled over, held at gunpoint, officer jailed immediately after. Marcus Tate, a black man in a sharp suit, stands frozen beside his flipped silver sedan, hands raised high as two white cops shout at him, guns aimed. Their flashlight sears his eyes in the Texas desert night, and blood drips from his temple where a baton split his skin. Yet he cuts through their shouts. "You're digging your own graves," he says. Officer Victor Hensley spits, a vile slur escaping his mouth as he cocks his pistol, while the other cop hesitates. Marcus smirks. "You have no idea who I am." As headlights flare in the distance, hinting at salvation or doom, the scene shifts. 12 hours ago, Marcus was simply driving home. But this encounter with the law will reshape his future forever. What sparked this chaos? Before we dive in, let us know where you're watching from. And if you stand for justice, hit like and subscribe for more gripping stories. 12 hours earlier, in the Texas desert, Marcus Tate's world was turned upside down. Behind the wheel of his silver sedan, he cruised through the sun-baked outskirts of El Paso, savoring a moment of peace after months of relentless work. The sky above was a bruised purple, the sun dipping below the horizon just 20 minutes earlier, leaving an orange smear across the jagged silhouettes of distant mesas. 40 miles west of the city, Highway 80 stretched ahead, a lonely ribbon of asphalt flanked by scraggly brush and prickly pear cacti clawing at the dusty earth. It was the kind of barren landscape that seemed forgotten by everyone except the vultures circling high in the still air, warmed by a 97-degree day. Marcus adjusted the air conditioning, letting the cool blast of air against his skin offer a much-needed relief. The stereo played a jazz station from Houston, an old coal train number crackling through the speakers. The saxophones wove a soothing melody, a counterpoint to the low growl of his sedan's engine, as he kept it steady at 55 miles per hour, the legal limit. Marcus Tate didn't take chances. Not with the road, and certainly not with the world, which always seemed ready to make an example of him. Standing 6 feet 2 inches, with broad shoulders and a jawline shaped by years of grit, his presence could silence a room. But tonight, he was just a man craving the quiet of home after months of 16-hour days, dismantling a cartel smuggling ring stretching from Tijuana to the Gulf Coast. At 43, he could already taste the weekend off, his first in 6 months. He pictured himself firing up the grill in his backyard in Houston, searing a thick ribeye to medium rare, cracking open a cold Shiner Bock while the crickets sang and the stars popped out over the pine trees. He'd earned it after 20 years in the FBI, rising from a beat cop in Atlanta to the director of the Houston office. A black man who'd stared down mob bosses and senators, always coming out on top. His hands rested at 10 and 2 on the steering wheel, steady as stone. He clicked the turn signals with military precision each time he changed lanes on the 3-hour drive back from a field office meeting in El Paso. He knew the drill. He knew how to keep everything clean by the book. Because he knew that out here, a mile didn't pass without someone assuming he was trouble simply for existing while black. The sedan's odometer clicked past 212,000 miles, a testament to how many roads like this he'd traveled and how many nights he'd spent chasing justice instead of sleep. Tonight, however, it was just him and the open highway. The nearest gas station was 20 miles back, near Horizon City. The last vehicle he'd passed was a rusted Ford pickup hauling hay bales, rumbled past 15 minutes ago, its taillights long swallowed by the dusk. He was alone out here, or so he thought. Suddenly, a flash of red and blue lights pierced the rearview mirror, sharp and silent. No siren, just that pulsing glow, hitting him like a punch to the gut. Because he knew this wasn't about a busted headlight or a missed speed limit sign. He'd been cruising at 55 miles per hour since he'd hit this stretch an hour ago. He squinted against the glare, narrowing his hazel eyes as he checked the dashboard one last time. Speedometer steady, gas tank 3/4 full, nothing out of place. He muttered under his breath, "Not again," the words slipping out like a reflex. It was the bitter echo of the 5 other stops he'd endured in the last year alone. Each one had begun with that same sinking feeling. No badge, no title, number 20 years of service could shield him from what was coming. Marcus eased the sedan onto the gravel shoulder, tires crunching over brittle stones, kicking up a faint cloud of dust that swirled in the headlight's beam. He cut the engine, the jazz fading to static as the desert silence pressed in. The temperature still hovered around 90 degrees, even with the sun gone. Marcus adjusted his tie, a crisp navy number against his white dress shirt, habits drilled into him from decades of facing scrutiny with dignity. His fingers brushed the FBI badge tucked in his jacket pocket, a cold reassurance he'd carried since his first day on the job. Because out here, dignity and proof were his only armor against the assumptions that followed him like a shadow. The rearview mirror caught a figure stepping out of the cruiser behind him, a tall silhouette framed by the last gasp of sunset. Marcus braced himself as Officer Victor Hensley came into view. His badge glinted like a taunt under the wide brim of a sweat-stained Stetson. Hensley was lean and wiry, maybe 40, with a sunburned neck peeking out above his navy uniform collar. His lips curled into a sneer that didn't even try to hide the contempt simmering behind his pale blue eyes. There was a swagger in his step, a small-town tyrant who thought he could bend the law to his will, without bothering with a polite tap on the window or a flashlight sweep. As protocol demands, Hensley planted his boots 2 feet from Marcus's door and barked, "License and registration, boy." His voice a growl that lands like a slap, dripping with venom, not even glancing inside to see who he's addressing, as if Marcus is guilty of something just for daring to drive this road at dusk. Marcus keeps his tone level, years of training locking the anger behind a wall of calm. "Can you tell me why you pulled me over, officer?" It's a fair question, one he's asked too many times before, one the law entitles him to have answered. But Hensley doesn't take the bait, just leans in closer, his shadow spilling across the open window, his breath sour with chewing tobacco as he snaps. "You people always think you're above the law, don't you?" Before slamming his fist down on the sedan's hood. The metal buckles with a sharp, resounding clang, echoing across the empty highway like a gunshot. A dent the size of a grapefruit blooms under his knuckles, jagged and ugly. A mark that's as much about claiming Marcus as it is about damaging his car. Marcus's jaw tightens, his fingers curling around the steering wheel until his knuckles turn white. But he doesn't flinch. Not yet. Because he's seen this scene play out before, written in the blood and bruises of men like him long before he was born. He knows Hensley isn't here for a traffic violation. Not with that word "people" hanging in the air like a lit fuse. Not with that sneer promising something far uglier than a fine. The sky darkens another shade, the first stars piercing the velvet black above, and Marcus feels it in his bones. This isn't just another stop to shrug off. This is the spark that's about to set his whole damn world on fire. Marcus Tate sits rigid in his silver sedan, the desert night pressing in through the open window as Officer Victor Hensley looms outside. His fist still hovers over the fresh dent in the hood, a jagged scar in the metal that glints under the faint starlight, a silent testament to the rage already boiling over in the stretch of Highway 80, 40 miles west of El Paso. The air is thick with the lingering heat of 90 degrees Fahrenheit, a dry, suffocating weight that sticks to Marcus's skin. His crisp white shirt dampens at the collar as he forces his breath to stay even. His hands grip the steering wheel, knuckles tight, but his hazel eyes lock onto Hensley's sneer with a calm that's taken 20 years in the FBI to forge. A calm that has held him steady through interrogations with killers and standoffs with kingpins, though none of those ever felt as personal as this. Hensley's demand for license and registration still hangs unanswered. That ugly boy, and you people echoing in Marcus's skull like a drumbeat he's heard too many times. 5 stops in the last 12 months, countless more since he was a teenager in Atlanta. Each one starting with that same look, that same tone, that same assumption that he's less than the badge he carries. He knows the law, knows his rights, knows the stop has no legs to stand on. Not with his speed at 55, not with his turn signals perfect. But he also knows Hensley doesn't care about the law. Not out here, where the nearest witness is a coyote howling 10 miles off in the scrub. Marcus reaches slowly for his wallet, deliberate, keeping his hands visible. He's learned the hard way that one wrong twitch can turn a routine traffic stop into a funeral. He pulls out his driver's license, the Texas seal stark against the black leather, and slides it toward the window. But he doesn't stop there. His voice cuts through the tense silence, steady as steel. "I'm a federal officer. FBI. Check the badge in my glove box." Not a plea, not a boast. Just fact, cold and clear. The kind of fact that's ended these stops before with stammered apologies and quick retreats. But Hensley doesn't flinch. He doesn't even glance at the license as he snatches it from Marcus's fingers and flicks it into the dirt outside, like it's trash. The plastic card skitters across the gravel shoulder with a faint scrape, drowned by his barking laugh. "FBI? Sure, and I'm the governor." "Nice try, boy." The word lands again, sharp as a blade, and Marcus feels it slice into him. But he keeps his face a mask, years of discipline holding the anger at bay. Hensley leans in closer, his sunburned face inches from the window, tobacco-stained breath fouling the air, and yanks the driver's door open with a creak of metal, barking out, "Now!" His pale blue eyes glint with something feral, something that says this isn't about papers anymore. It's about power. It's about putting Marcus in his place. Marcus doesn't argue, not yet. He steps out slowly and deliberately, hands raised just enough to show he's no threat. His 6 feet 2 inches frame unfolds from the sedan with a quiet dignity, but it only seems to stoke Hensley's fire. His dress shoes crunch on the gravel, the desert wind tugging at his navy tie as he stands there, towering over Hensley's wiry build. But the cop doesn't back off. He steps up, chest puffed, and shoves Marcus hard against the car. The sedan rocks slightly as Marcus's back slams into the door frame, Hensley snarling low, "You don't belong on my road. Never did." The words drip with venom, a racist hiss that's not even subtle anymore. Marcus feels the jolt of pain shoot up his spine, but he doesn't blink. He doesn't give Hensley the reaction he's fishing for. He's faced worse, survived worse, and he's not about to break for this small-time bully with a badge. Before he can respond, headlights flare in the distance. A second cruiser rolling up fast, kicking up dust that stings Marcus's eyes as it screeches to a stop 10 feet away. Officer Pete Rollins climbs out, a stocky man in his 30s with a buzz cut and a smirk that mirrors Hensley's. His uniform stretches tight across a barrel chest, a nightstick swinging lazily at his hip as he saunters over, chuckling. "What's this one, Vic?" Hensley doesn't miss a beat, spinning a lie as easy as breathing. Resisting, thinks he's some big shot fed. Rollins nods, like it's a punchline he's heard before, stepping closer to block Marcus's path back to the driver's seat. Marcus opens his mouth to protest. "I've complied with every..." But Hensley cuts him off, grabbing his wrist and twisting it behind his back. He slams a pair of cuffs on so tight the steel bites into Marcus's skin, drawing a thin trickle of blood that stains his white cuff red. Rollins laughs, a harsh bark, as Hensley tightens his grip, leaning in close to whisper, "This is just the start. You're going to wish you'd stayed off my turf." The cuffs click shut, the sound sharp against the desert quiet, and Marcus feels the weight of it. Not just the metal, but the hatred, the system that allows men like Hensley to wield it unchecked. His jaw tightens, his mind racing, because he knows this isn't the end. It's the beginning of a battle he didn't ask for but won't back down from. Not now, not ever. Hey folks, what do you think? Should Marcus have stayed silent? Or was he right to call out his FBI rank? Comment number 1 if you think he did the right thing standing up to Hensley's racism. Hit that like button if you're rooting for justice here, and subscribe so you don't miss what's next, because trust me, this is about to get wilder. So what happens when Marcus's backup hears about this? Will it save him, or light an even bigger fuse? Marcus Tate sits hunched in the back of Officer Victor Hensley's cruiser, the desert night a blur of shadows beyond the grimy windows. The cuffs dig deeper into his wrists, the steel edges slick with blood that's now crusted over, staining his white shirt cuffs a dull crimson. He's 40 miles west of El Paso on Highway 80. The air outside is still a stifling 90 degrees Fahrenheit, but inside it's suffocating, the vinyl seat sticking to his suit jacket as the faint hum of the AC battles the heat radiating off Hensley in the driver's seat. Officer Pete Rollins rides shotgun, his buzz-cut head tilted back, chuckling at some crude joke Hensley mutters about teaching this one a lesson. while Marcus keeps his hazel eyes fixed on the rearview mirror, catching every twitch of Hensley's sneer. He's 6 feet 2 inches, broad-shouldered, and trained to stay calm under worse pressure than this. But the throbbing in his jaw from Hensley's baton shove against the sedan, and the sting of racist slurs, "Boy, you people," are testing that calm, pushing it to a razor's edge he hasn't felt since his early days as a beat cop in Atlanta 20 years ago. His mind races, cataloging every move. Hensley's lie about resisting, Rollins' complicity, the unlawful stop with no cause. But he's not just processing, he's planning. Because Marcus Tate didn't rise to the position of Houston FBI director by letting small-town bigots like these bury him. His right hand, tucked beneath his thigh, brushes the concealed earpiece he's kept since his undercover days. A tiny black bud, barely the size of a dime, wired into his phone's secure line. He shifts his weight slow and subtle until his fingers nudge it into place behind his ear. The cruiser's rumble masks the faint click as it activates. Hensley's too busy spitting tobacco into a cup to notice, and Rollins is scrolling his phone. Marcus presses his thumb against the earpiece, whispering so low it's barely a breath. "Deputy Director Hayes, it's Tate. Highway 80, El Paso outskirts. Detained illegally by 2 officers, Hensley and Rollins. I need backup now." The line crackles, then Hayes' voice cuts through, sharp and urgent. "Coordinates locked. Choppers 20 minutes out. Hang tight." Marcus exhales, a flicker of relief cutting through the adrenaline. 20 minutes is nothing compared to the hell he's already endured tonight. The cruiser lurches as Hensley takes a sharp turn onto a dirt road, gravel pinging against the undercarriage, and Marcus braces himself. 10 minutes pass, then 15, and just as Hensley starts bragging about showing this Fed who's boss, a low thrum builds in the distance, growing into the unmistakable roar of rotor blades slicing the night sky. Headlights flare through the windshield as an FBI helicopter swoops low, its spotlight pinning the cruiser in a blinding white circle. Hensley slams the brakes, tires skidding, cursing under his breath. What the hell? Rollins fumbles his phone, dropping it into the footwell. The chopper hovers 50 feet above, dust swirling in a choking cloud, and a voice booms over the loudspeaker. "FBI, release the detainee immediately. Officers Hensley and Rollins, you're under federal observation." Marcus feels the shift. Hensley's bravado cracks, his sunburned face paling as he scrambles to uncuff Marcus, his hands shaking, muttering, "Misunderstanding, sir. Just a mix-up." Rollins stammers, "We didn't know. Honest." The cuffs snap off, the steel clattering to the floorboard. Marcus steps out, brushing gravel from his suit. His jaw tightens, but his eyes burn with quiet triumph. He's free. The chopper's blades whip the air as it lands 100 yards off, agents in black vests spilling out with rifles ready. For a moment, he thinks he's won, that Hensley's done, that this nightmare is over. He climbs back into his sedan, the dented hood a bitter reminder, and drives off toward Houston, the chopper shadowing him for protection. His shoulders ease, the tension bleeding out as he hits 70 miles per hour, the desert shrinking in his rearview. But he doesn't see what's brewing behind him. Back at the cruiser, Hensley isn't licking his wounds. He's on the radio, voice low and venomous. "Get this to the precinct now. Edit the dash cam. Make it look like he swung first." Within an hour, as Marcus crosses the county line, 150 miles from El Paso, a grainy video hits the internet. Uploaded from an anonymous account tied to the local sheriff's office, the 30-second clip shows Marcus stepping out of his car, edited to make it look like he's lunging at Hensley. The audio is dubbed with a fake shout, "I'll kill you, pig." Hensley's shove and the cuffs vanish from the frame. The caption reads, "FBI thug Harris's honest cop. Who's the real criminal?" By midnight, it's gone viral. 10,000 views, then 50, then 100, flooding El Paso's online forums and beyond. The comments are a cesspool of racist bile. Typical. Give him a badge, and they think they own us. Send him back where he came from. Cops should have finished the job. Marcus pulls into a gas station, 50 miles from home, the neon sign buzzing above a pump that's seen better days. He checks his phone. His inbox is flooded. His deputy director texts, "You see this yet?" His stomach drops as he plays the clip. The distorted version of himself stares back. A lie so blatant it's almost laughable. Except it's not. El Paso's rumor mill is already churning, and the town's old guard is lapping it up, painting him as the villain, the black Fed who dared step out of line. His hands tremble, not with fear, but with fury, as he realizes that Hensley is not just a thug, he's a player, and this smear is hitting harder than any baton, turning his escape into a trap he can't outrun. The gas pump clicks off, the tank full at 12 gallons, but Marcus doesn't move. He's staring at the screen, the video looping, and he knows this false victory is about to cost him everything he's worked for. Because out here, truth doesn't matter when Hayes has a louder voice. Marcus Tate grips the steering wheel of his silver sedan, the desert night swallowing the gas station's flickering neon glow in his rearview mirror as he pulls back onto Highway 80. The engine hums steadily at 70 miles per hour. He's 50 miles from Houston now, the dented hood from Hensley's fist a jagged shadow under the dashboard lights. His white shirt still stained with blood from the cuffs that dug into his wrists an hour ago. A dull ache pulsing in his jaw where the baton landed back on that desolate stretch 40 miles west of El Paso. The air outside hovers at 85 degrees Fahrenheit, cooler than the day's peak but still heavy with the dry bite of a Texas summer. Inside, the AC blasts against his face, drying the sweat that's beaded on his forehead since he saw that doctored video. 30 seconds of lies looping on his phone. The fake shout of, "I'll kill you, pig," dubbed over grainy dash cam footage, turning his lawful defiance into a racist caricature that's already racked up 100,000 views. The comments are a venomous flood of FBI thug and worse, words he's heard before but never with his own face attached. His 6 feet 2 inches frame slumps slightly, exhaustion tugging at him after months of cartel busts and now this. His hazel eyes flick to the road, then the mirrors, a habit from 20 years in the FBI. Because even with the chopper escort gone and Hensley's cruiser left in the dust, he knows this isn't over. Not when a man like that can twist the truth into a noose with a radio call and a few keystrokes. He's 200 meters from where it started, the stars a faint scatter above the endless black of the plains when he spots them. 3 sets of taillights creeping up behind, too close, too synchronized. Their glow bounces off the asphalt like predators pacing a kill. Marcus adjusts his grip, easing off the gas to 60, testing them. The lights don't waver. They close in, and his gut twists. That old instinct flares, the one that's kept him alive through ambushes and stakeouts gone sideways. The lead vehicle surges forward. A jacked-up pickup with mud-caked tires and a Confederate flag flapping from its bed. Its headlights blind him as it swerves to his left. 2 more flank him, one on the right, one behind, boxing him in as the road narrows over a rickety bridge spanning a dry riverbed 30 feet below. Its wooden planks groan under the sedan's weight. Marcus scans for an out, but there's none. The pickups tighten their grip, engines roaring. He catches a glimpse of shadowed faces through tinted windows, white men with hard eyes and harder grins, one clutching a baseball bat that glints in the glare. He floors it, pushing 80, the sedan lurching as he tries to break free. But the lead truck cuts him off, forcing him to brake hard. Then a brick rockets through his windshield, glass exploding inward like shrapnel. A jagged shard slices his cheek as it embeds in the passenger seat. Blood wells hot and fast down his neck, staining his tie crimson. The impact jars him, the wheel jerking in his hands, and a voice bellows from the truck, roaring hateful words. "Get out, you black bastard." The words hit harder than the brick. A slap of pure malice that echoes Hensley's sneer from hours ago. Marcus swerves, tires screaming. The sedan fishtails as he fights to keep it on the bridge. The drop looms to the right, a sheer plunge into darkness, and he yanks the wheel left, scraping the guardrail with a shriek of metal on metal. Sparks fly as he narrowly avoids tumbling over the edge. His heart slams against his ribs, adrenaline flooding every nerve. He's trained for this, survived worse, but this isn't a cartel hit. This is personal. A mob spurred by that video, by Hensley's poison seeping into the cracks of a town already primed to hate him. The trucks press closer, one ramming his rear bumper, the jolt snapping his head back. He floors it again, pushing 90, the engine whining as he breaks through the gauntlet. The bridge's end rushes up in a blur of headlights and dust. He's clear, tires hitting solid asphalt, the pickups lagging as he hits 100, the speedometer trembling. But then a crackle cuts through the chaos, a CB radio spitting static from the lead truck, and Hensley's voice rasps out, loud and clear, "Finish him for me." The command kills Marcus to the bone. Because this isn't random. This is Hensley's next move. A hit squad unleashed to bury him where no chopper can swoop in to save him. The trucks peel off, their taillights fading as Marcus races toward Houston. Blood dripping onto his lap, glass crunching under his shoes. He's alive. Barely. His hands shake on the wheel, but his mind's already turning. Because he knows Hensley's not done. Knows that video is just the spark in this mob's fire. And it's only going to burn hotter from here. He wipes his cheek, the cut stinging, and mutters, "You're going to regret this." A vow to himself to the night. Because Marcus Tate doesn't run. He fights. And this fight's just getting started. Alright folks, what do you think? Does Marcus deserve to take Hensley down after this? Comment number 1 if you're rooting for him to crush this racist mob. Hit that like button if you're fired up for justice, and subscribe so you don't miss the next twist. Because it's about to get insane. So, can Marcus outsmart Hensley's next play? Or is this mob just the beginning of his nightmare? Marcus Tate races down Highway 80, the silver sedan's engine roaring at 90 miles per hour, as the shattered windshield lets in gusts of desert air still hovering at 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Despite the late hour, he's 40 miles from Houston now, blood crusting on his cheek from the brick that almost took his head off on that rickety bridge 10 minutes ago. The jagged glass embedded in the passenger seat glints under the dashboard lights, a grim trophy of the mob's attack. His navy tie hangs loosely, shredded at the end where it caught on the guardrail during his escape, and his white shirt is a mess of red stains. Blood from his wrists, his cheek, his pride. But his hazel eyes stay sharp, scanning the road through the spider-webbed windshield. His 6 feet 2 inches frame is tense as he grips the wheel with hands that still tremble from the adrenaline of outrunning those Confederate flag-waving pickups, orchestrated by Hensley's venomous "Finish him" crackling over the CB radio. The viral video's lies, FBI thug Harris's honest cop, still burn in his mind, 100,000 views and counting, turning him into a target for every racist with a grudge within 100 miles of El Paso. And that mob? It's proof that Hensley's not just a rogue cop. He's a puppet master pulling strings Marcus can't yet see. He's 240 miles from where this nightmare began with that unlawful stop. The stars overhead are blurred by the wind whipping through the broken glass when he spots the faint glow of El Paso's city limits just 10 miles ahead. A chance to stop, breathe, get help. So he eases off the gas, dropping to 60, and veers toward a precinct he knows from joint ops with the local PD. A squat brick building off the interstate that's handled cartel busts alongside his Houston team for the past 3 years. The sedan limps into the parking lot, tires crunching over loose gravel, the dented hood rattling as he kills the engine. He's a mess, bloodied and bruised, but he's the damned FBI director, and he's not about to let Hensley's goons chase him into hiding like some fugitive from that doctored footage. He steps out, wincing as his dress shoes hit the pavement, the night air stinging the fresh cut on his cheek. He adjusts his jacket, torn at the shoulder but still carrying the weight of his badge in the inner pocket. A cold steel lifeline he's clung to for 20 years. The precinct's neon sign buzzes overhead, casting a sickly green glow across the lot, and Marcus strides toward the glass doors, his jaw set, his mind racing with a plan. Report the stop, the mob, the video. Get federal eyes on Hensley before this spirals further. But as he pushes inside, the desk sergeant, a wiry white man with a gray mustache, barely looks up from his coffee, muttering, "State your business." In a drawl that's more boredom than badge, Marcus pulls out his FBI ID, the gold shield glinting under the fluorescent lights, and slams it on the counter. His voice is steady despite the ache in his bones. "Marcus Tate, Houston FBI Director. I was illegally detained by one of your officers, Victor Hensley, then attacked by a mob he sicked on me. I need to file a report and get your watch, Commander." The sergeant glances at the badge, then at Marcus, his bloody shirt, his torn suit, and nods slowly, deliberately. "All right, Fed. Sit tight." He gestures to an interview room down the hall with a flick of his pen. Marcus follows, stepping into a cramped box of peeling paint and a metal table bolted to the floor. The door clicks shut behind him, and he sinks into a chair, the cold steel biting through his jacket. For a moment, he lets himself hope, lets himself believe these cops will see the badge, hear the truth, and back him up like the law demands. 2 officers enter 10 minutes later, both white, both in crisp Navy uniforms. Officer Lyle Grayson, tall and lean with a scar across his knuckles, and Officer Tom Burke, shorter, stockier, with a buzz cut and a smirk that doesn't reach his eyes. They nod at Marcus, Grayson saying, "Heard you had a rough night, Mr. Tate. We'll look into it," while Burke jots notes on a clipboard, his pen scratching loudly in the silence. Marcus lays it out. Hensley's stop, the cuffs, the chopper rescue, the video, the bridge ambush. His voice is steady, the facts crisp, expecting action. But Grayson's eyes narrow, and Burke's smirk widens. Before Marcus can finish, the door locks with a heavy thunk, Grayson spinning the key with a chuckle. "Hensley's our brother. You're nothing here." Marcus's stomach drops, his hands flexing against the table as Burke steps closer, spitting in his face. The wet glob hits his cheek with a sting. "FBI don't mean SHT to us. You think you can roll in and cry wolf?" The saliva drips, mixing with the blood already there, and Marcus wipes it off slow and deliberate, his mind screaming betrayal. These aren't cops. They're Hensley's pack, and he's walked right into their den. Grayson pulls out his phone, dialing with a grin. "Vic, you'll love this. He's here." Within an hour, the door swings open again. Hensley strides in, his sunburned neck redder than ever, his nightstick twirling like a toy in his wiry hands. He doesn't hesitate, doesn't speak, just swings the baton hard, cracking it across Marcus's jaw with a sickening crunch. It snaps his head back, pain exploding white-hot through his skull as he slumps against the chair, blood pooling in his mouth, metallic and sharp. Hensley leans in, breath hot and sour, snarling, "You thought you'd snitch? Thought your fancy badge would save you." And he swings again, the stick slamming into Marcus's ribs with a dull thud that steals his breath. He gasps, vision blurring, but his training kicks in, keeping him conscious, keeping him alive. Because he knows this beating is just Hensley's warm-up, a taste of the hell he's got planned. The room spins, the fluorescent buzz deafening, and Marcus clenches his fists. Blood dripping onto the table, he's down, but not out, and Hensley's about to find that out the hard way. Marcus Tate slumps against the cold metal chair in the El Paso precinct's interview room, the taste of blood thick in his mouth as it drips from his split lip, pooling on the scratched table in front of him. His jaw throbs where Officer Victor Hensley's baton cracked it minutes ago, a white-hot pain that pulses with every shallow breath. His ribs ache from the second blow, a dull bruise blooming beneath his torn white shirt, now a patchwork of crimson stains from his wrists, his cheek, and now his mouth. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead, casting harsh shadows across the peeling beige walls. The air is stale and heavy, still at 80 degrees Fahrenheit despite the late hour. 40 miles from Houston, he's trapped in this concrete box, the precinct's neon sign flickering outside, a mocking beacon of the safety he thought he'd find. Hensley stands over him, his wiry frame coiled with menace, his sunburned neck flushed red as he twirls the nightstick, smirking. "You thought you'd snitch, huh? Thought you'd run to your Fed buddies." Meanwhile, Officers Lyle Grayson and Tom Burke lean against the locked door. Grayson's scarred knuckles flex, and Burke's smirk widens as he wipes spit from his chin. The same spit he'd hawked in Marcus's face before Hensley strutted in. A betrayal that stings worse than the beating. Marcus's 6 feet 2 inches frame is hunched, his navy tie dangling in tatters, but his hazel eyes burn through the haze of pain, tracking every move. 20 years in the FBI have taught him to stay sharp when the odds are stacked, and right now, they're a tower ready to topple. His right wrist still roars from the cuffs hours ago on Highway 80 as it brushes the chair's armrest. He feels it. A loose pin in the cuff dangling from his left hand, a sliver of steel bent just enough to work with. He noticed it when Hensley slammed him down. A sloppy mistake from a sloppy cop, and now it's his lifeline. Hensley paces, ranting about teaching him his place, his boots scuffing the linoleum while Grayson chuckles and Burke scrolls through his phone, distracted. Marcus shifts slowly, deliberately, sliding the pin free with his thumb. His fingers are steady despite the blood slicking them, and he slips it into the cuff's lock, feeling the mechanism give with a faint click, masked by a cough, harsh and wet as blood spatters his chin. Hensley doesn't notice, too busy swinging the baton in mock arcs, but Marcus's mind races. 3 against 1, no gun, no backup, the door's locked. But he's got surprise, and that's enough. He waits, biding his time, until Hensley turns to laugh with Grayson. Then Marcus moves fast as a coiled spring, lunging up and slamming his elbow into Hensley's throat. A guttural choke cuts off the cop's sneer as the baton clatters to the floor. Burke lunges, but Marcus grabs the chair and swings it hard. The metal frame cracks against Burke's skull with a sickening thud, dropping him limp to the ground. Grayson's on him next, fists flying, but Marcus ducks, years of training kicking in, and drives his knee into Grayson's gut, doubling him over. He snatches the keys from Grayson's belt, bolts for the door, and jams the key in, twisting it open. As Hensley wheezes, clawing for his radio, Marcus bursts into the hall, the precinct a blur of beige and buzzing lights. His dress shoes slip on the tile as he sprints past the desk sergeant, who's too slow to react, coffee spilling as he yells, "Hey!" Marcus hits the parking lot, the night air hitting his lungs like a furnace, and spots a patrol car idling 20 feet away, keys still in it from a rookie's smoke break. He dives in, slams the door, and floors it. The cruiser peels out with a screech of tires, gravel spraying as he tears onto the interstate, heart hammering, blood dripping onto the seat. He's free, the precinct shrinking in the rear view, and he grabs the radio, switching to a secure FBI channel. Voice hoarse but firm, he speaks, "Hayes, it's Tate. Precinct's dirty. Hensley's crew beat me. I'm out, heading east. Send a team." Hayes crackles back, "Copy, 60 miles out. Stay low." Marcus exhales, thinking he's clear. The cruiser hitting 80 as he races toward Houston, 50 miles away. But then the scanner flares to life, statewide alert blaring. "All units be advised. FBI Director Marcus Tate wanted for assaulting officers. Armed and dangerous. Last seen fleeing El Paso precinct in stolen vehicle." Followed by a flood of chatter. Suspect attacked 3 cops, critical condition. Marcus's gut twists. He didn't kill anyone. Burke's out cold, not dead, but the lies are already spreading. He catches a glimpse of his reflection in the side mirror, bloodied and wild, a perfect match for the fugitive they've painted him as. Sirens wail in the distance, closing fast, and Hensley's voice cuts through the scanner, sharp and smug. "He's a dead man now. Find him. Finish him." A taunt that chills Marcus's blood, because this isn't just a beating anymore. It's a frame-up, a death sentence broadcast to every badge in Texas, turning his escape into a noose he can't slip. He ditches the radio, the cruiser's speedometer climbing to 95. The desert blurs past. He's alive, but he's hunted, and Hensley's turned the whole damn state into his executioner. All right, folks, what do you think? Can Marcus outrun this frame-up? Or is Hensley too slick? Comment number 1 if you believe Marcus can still turn this around. Hit that like button if you're rooting for him to beat these corrupt cops. And subscribe so you don't miss the next move, because it's about to get brutal. So, how does Marcus dodge a manhunt when even his own side might turn on him? Marcus Tate speeds east in the stolen El Paso patrol car, the speedometer pinned at 95 miles per hour as the Texas landscape blurs past. 40 miles from Houston, the cruiser's headlights cut through the darkness, illuminating the cracked asphalt of Interstate 10. The air rushes in at 80 degrees Fahrenheit through the open window, drying the blood caked on his cheek from the brick attack and the fresh split on his lip from Hensley's baton back at the precinct 20 minutes ago. His white shirt is a wreck, torn and stained with crimson from his wrists, his jaw, his ribs. His navy tie is a shredded rag flapping against the seat. His 6 feet 2 inches frame hunches over the wheel, every muscle screaming from the beating, the escape, the relentless chase that's turned him from FBI director into a fugitive in less than 12 hours. The statewide alert still crackles over the scanner. Marcus Tate wanted for assaulting officers. Armed and dangerous. A lie spun by Hensley's smug "he's a dead man now," echoing in his ears. Sirens wail in the distance. Faint, but closing, a pack on a scent he can't shake. His hazel eyes dart to the fuel gauge. Half a tank, maybe 12 gallons left, enough to reach Houston if he pushes it. But his mind isn't on the road. It's on Lena, his wife of 15 years, and their 12-year-old son, Jamal, waiting at home in their quiet suburb off the Gulf Freeway. They're oblivious to the storm Hensley's unleashed with that viral video and now this manhunt. He ditched his phone after the precinct, knowing it was a beacon for every cop in Texas, but he has a burner stashed in the glove box from an old op. 2 minutes out, he fishes it out. A cheap flip phone with a cracked screen, and dials Lena's number. His voice hoarse as it rings. Pick up, because he needs to warn her, needs to keep them safe from the fallout he's dragging behind him like a shadow. 300 miles since that stop on Highway 80. She answers on the 4th ring, her voice sleepy but sharp. "Marcus, where are you?" "It's past midnight." He cuts in urgently. "Lena, listen, pack a bag, take Jamal, get to my sister's in Austin now. Cops framed me. They're coming. Don't ask, just go." There's a pause, a rustle of sheets. Then her breath hitches. "What framed, Marcus? What's—" But the line cuts dead, a burst of static swallowing her words. He redials, nothing, just silence, and his gut twists. He's too late. Hensley isn't playing small anymore. 50 miles away in Houston, Lena Tate stands in their 2-story colonial, her bare feet cold on the hardwood floor of their bedroom. Her brown eyes are wide as she clutches the cordless phone, its dial tone humming like a warning. She's 39, a high school principal with a no-nonsense edge, her hair pulled back in a braid that's fraying from sleep. Her nightgown sways as she turns to the window, peering through the blinds at the quiet street lined with oaks and picket fences. Jamal's upstairs, probably sprawled across his bed with comics. Oblivious. She's halfway to the stairs when headlights flood the driveway, 3 SUVs screeching to a halt. Their doors fly open, and a SWAT team in black vests spills out. Rifles raised, red lasers dancing across the front porch like fireflies on a warpath. She freezes, her heart slamming, as the door explodes inward, with splintering under a battering ram. 6 officers storm in, shouting, "Houston PD, hands up!" She's shoved to the floor, her knees cracking against the oak. A gloved hand pins her down as she yells, "What's happening? This is my house." Upstairs, Jamal screams, "Mom!" and she twists, seeing him dragged down in pajamas, his skinny arms flailing as an officer cuffs him. His comics scatter like confetti. She's helpless, her voice breaking. "He's 12. Let him go." But the lead cop, a square-jawed man named Sergeant Ed Voss, ignores her, barking orders as his team tears through the house, ripping cushions, smashing frames, overturning drawers. Voss kneels beside her, smirking. "Your husband's a drug runner, FBI front. Where's he hiding the stash?" Lena spits back, "That's a lie. He's the director, you idiot." But Voss just laughs, cold and hollow, and pulls a plastic bag from his vest. A pound of cocaine, pristine and planted. He tosses it onto the coffee table with a thud. "Found it. Looks like you're in on it too." She stares, horror sinking in as cameras flash, evidence logged. Upstairs, Jamal sobs, "Dad didn't do this." But the cuffs stay tight. Voss radios, suspect's family detained, narcotics secured. Tell Hensley it's done. 50 miles out, Marcus floors the cruiser, hitting 100. The burner is dead in his hand. He's too far, too late. The scanner crackles again. A news report breaks through. Breaking. Houston FBI Director Marcus Tate's home raided. Wife and son arrested in drug bust tied to his assault on El Paso officers. Then Hensley's voice cuts in on a live feed, fake tears thick in his tone. He's a disgrace to the badge. My heart breaks for this city. Marcus slams the wheel, rage boiling over, blood dripping onto his lap as the broadcast cuts to a reporter outside his house. Lena's face is blurred, but unmistakable as she's hauled into a van. Jamal is beside her. The gas station payphone looms ahead, a rusted relic 30 feet off the interstate. He screeches to a stop, stumbling out, quarters jangling as he dials Hayes again, his voice a roar. They hit my family, planted drugs. Hensley's behind it. I need you now. Hayes snaps back. Team's en route. Hold on. But Marcus knows holding on isn't enough. His escape is a hollow victory. His family's the price, and Hensley's turned his badge into a weapon sharper than any nightstick. Marcus Tate stands hunched over the payphone at a crumbling gas station, 30 feet off Interstate 10. The receiver is slick with sweat and blood as his hoarse voice rasps into it. They hit my family, planted drugs. Hensley's behind it. I need you now. The night air is stifling, 80 degrees Fahrenheit, wrapping around him like a wet blanket. 40 miles from Houston, his silver sedan is abandoned 300 yards back on Highway 80, replaced by the stolen cruiser, idling beside him. Its engine ticks as the fuel gauge dips below a quarter tank. Maybe 6 gallons left after his 100 miles per hour dash from El Paso's corrupt precinct. His white shirt is torn and a mess, blood from his cheek, jaw, and ribs staining it beyond recognition. His navy tie is long gone. His 6 feet 2 inches frame trembles with a fury he hasn't felt in 20 years of FBI service. Not since he took down his first kingpin and swore no one would touch his own again. Deputy Director Hayes crackles back. Team's en route. Safe house, 50 miles southwest. Coordinates coming. Hold on. But Marcus doesn't wait. He slams the phone down, quarters clattering as he stumbles to the cruiser. His hazel eyes burn through the pain. Lena and Jamal in cuffs, the planted cocaine bag flashing on the news, Hensley's fake tears on the radio. It's a knife to his gut, and he's done running, done hiding from a small-time thug who's turned his life into a manhunt. He floors the cruiser, tires screeching as he peels southwest. The statewide alert blares. Marcus Tate wanted for assaulting officers. Still echoing, but he's got a plan. Hensley isn't the only one with moves. 50 miles later, he abandons the cruiser in a mosquito-thick thicket off a dirt road. The safe house looms ahead, a low-slung bunker hidden in the scrub, its steel door glinting under the moonlight. Hayes and 6 agents in black vests greet him, rifles slung, their faces grim. Lena and Jamal are in holding. Feds are locked out. Hensley's got local stonewalling, Hayes says, handing Marcus a burner tablet with hacked live precinct feeds. Marcus wipes blood from his lip, his jaw throbbing, and growls. Then we hit back hard, rallying his team with a voice that cuts through exhaustion. His 20 years of tactics flood in, and within an hour they've got warrants, recordings from his earpiece, and a sting set for Hensley's precinct 40 miles north in El Paso. The chopper lifts off at 3 o'clock in the morning, blades slicing the night as Marcus straps into a vest. His ribs scream, but his focus is razor sharp. They hit the precinct at dawn, the sky a bruised purple. Agents storm in, flashbangs popping, smoke curling as Marcus limps through the chaos, Glock drawn, eyes locked on Hensley's office. He kicks the door in, catching Hensley mid-rant on the phone. Tell Voss to bury the wife's case, Hensley says, but Marcus levels the gun. You're done, Victor. Hensley freezes, his sunburned neck paling, but he smirks. You're a dead man walking, as agents cuff him and Rollins, who's cowering in the corner. Live feeds from local news vans capture it all. Choppers buzz overhead as the arrest is broadcast statewide. Marcus stands, bruised but unbowed, the precinct's corrupt heart ripped out in front of a million viewers. Cheers erupt from the agents as Hensley is hauled out, his badge stripped, Rollins stammering apologies. Marcus exhales, thinking it's over, that Lena and Jamal will be freed, that he's clawed back justice from 12 hours of hell sparked by that Highway 80 stop. He steps outside, the sun just cresting the horizon, a faint 85 degrees Fahrenheit warming his bloodied face. His team slaps his back. Hayes nods. We've got him. 10 years minimum. For a moment, Marcus believes it, lets the weight lift, the nightmare fade. But then a crack splits the air. A sniper's bullet grazes his shoulder, tearing through his vest with a searing burn that drops him to his knees. Blood pools fast as agents scatter, shouting, "Shooter! Rooftop!" He clutches the wound, vision swimming, and something flutters down. A note landing in the dust beside him, scrolled in black ink, "Your next traitor." His team returns fire, but the sniper vanishes. Sirens wail, but Marcus stares at the paper, Hensley's grin flashing in his mind. The cops, cuffed 20 feet away in a squad car, smirk through the window, mouthing, "This ain't over." And Marcus realizes this isn't Hensley's endgame. It's a signal, a thread to something bigger, someone pulling strings he hasn't cut yet. He staggers up, blood soaking his arm, his team dragging him to cover. Hensley's down, but the war isn't won, and Marcus's counterstrike just painted a target on his back larger than any video or mob ever could. All right, folks, what do you think? Did Marcus do enough to bury Hensley here? Comment number 1 if you think he deserves this win after all he's endured. Hit that like button if you're cheering for his fight against corruption. And subscribe so you don't miss the next blow, because this sniper is just the start. So, who's behind that bullet and how much deeper does this conspiracy run? Marcus Tate limps into the El Paso County Courthouse, his left shoulder bandaged beneath a fresh suit jacket. The sniper's bullet from 12 hours ago still aches dully as blood seeps through the gauze. 40 miles from Houston, he's 300 miles from where this hell started on Highway 80. The air outside is a crisp 75 degrees Fahrenheit under a late morning sun, but inside the courtroom, it's a pressure cooker, packed with 200 spectators crammed into wooden pews. Their murmurs buzz like wasps as he steps to the witness stand. His white shirt's clean now, no trace of the blood that stained it from Hensley's beating or the mob's brick. But his 6 feet 2 inches frame carries the weight of it all. His jaw bruised purple, his ribs tender, his hazel eyes shadowed from sleepless nights since Lena and Jamal were hauled off in cuffs 48 hours ago in that fake drug bust orchestrated by Hensley's allies. The precinct raid at dawn, Hensley and Rollins cuffed live on air, felt like a win. But that sniper note, "Your next traitor," and Hensley's smirk from the squad car haunt him. It's a promise of more pain lurking beyond this trial. The courtroom's oak-paneled walls gleam under the fluorescent lights. The judge's gavel strikes with a sharp crack as proceedings begin. Victor Hensley sits at the defense table, wiry and pale, his sunburned neck stark against a cheap gray suit. His smirk is gone, but his pale blue eyes glint with defiance as his lawyer, a slick man named Ray Carver, adjusts his tie. Marcus grips the witness stand, swearing in, his voice steady despite the pain. He's got evidence stacked like a fortress. The earpiece recording from the initial stop, precinct security logs showing Hensley's entry for the beating, hacked radio chatter telling the mob to finish him, and sworn statements from his agents about the raid, airtight, every piece logged and timestamped. A case he's built over 20 years to bury bastards like this. The prosecutor, a sharp-eyed woman named Carla Ortiz, paces, her heels clicking as she lays it out. Hensley's illegal stop, the assault, the smear video now at 300,000 views, the mob attack, the precinct betrayal, the family raid. All tied to his badge, all drenched in racism. Marcus testifies calmly but with precision. He called me boy, cuffed me for nothing, beat me with a baton. When I fought back, he turned my family into targets with planted drugs. The jury, 10 locals of mixed ages, mostly white, leans in. Some nod, others remain stone-faced. The room shifts when Ortiz plays the precinct feed. Hensley's baton cracking Marcus's jaw in grainy black and white. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Kara counters, spinning Hensley as overzealous and stressed, claiming Marcus provoked the stop, but the evidence buries that argument. 3 hours later, the jury returns, and the foreman reads, "Guilty, abuse of power, assault, corruption, 10 years. Hensley's head drops, his fists clenching as deputies cuff him. The gavel slams like a thunderclap. Marcus exhales, ribs aching, thinking it's over. Lena and Jamal's charges will be dropped, and the nightmare that started 12 hours ago on that desert road is finally cracking. But as he steps off the stand, the gallery erupts. Not with cheers, but with shouts of cop killer and traitor from a cluster of 20 locals in the back. Their faces are twisted with rage, Confederate patches glinting on their jackets. It's the same crowd that nearly ran him off the bridge. He freezes, his hand brushing his Glock beneath his jacket, but the judge calls for order, and deputies push back. The victory is real. Hensley's gone. Yet the hate still lives, festering in El Paso's underbelly, fed by that viral lie and Hensley's poison. He heads for the exit, the sun blinding as he steps onto the courthouse steps. The 78 degrees Fahrenheit now. His team is 10 feet behind. Hayes claps his shoulder. "We did it, boss." And Marcus nods, forcing a smile, imagining Lena's voice, Jamal's laugh, "Free soon." But then the mob spills out, 50 strong, surging past deputies too slow to react. Their boots thump on the concrete as bottles fly. One shatters against his bandaged shoulder, glass slicing through his suit. Blood wells fresh as he stumbles, pain flaring white-hot. They scream, "You framed him!" and "Get out, black bastard." Slurs from the bridge, the video, the precinct, all boiling over. Another bottle explodes at his feet. His Glock is half-drawn when Hayes pulls him back. "Not worth it." The crowd presses in, fists raised, a woman spitting. "He'll pay." Marcus's heart sinks because this isn't justice's echo. It's Hensley's legacy. A town turned against him, even with the cuffs on their hero. Deputies finally form a line, pushing them out, but the damage is done. Marcus brushes glass from his sleeve, blood dripping, when a courier shoves through, thrusting an envelope into his hands. The official seal glints. Inside is a warrant, fresh off the press. Marcus Tate, evidence tampering, federal investigation pending, signed by Judge Heron Voss. A name Hensley bragged about owning on that precinct call. A judge tied to the sheriff who buried Lena's case. Marcus stares at the paper, trembling. Hensley's 10 years mean nothing if the system's still rigged, and this warrant is a noose tighter than any mob. A legal trap from a puppet master he hasn't faced. He crumples it, blood smearing the ink, and his team shouts as the crowd roars. He's won the battle, but the war's just shifted, and he's still the prey. All right, folks, what do you think? Should Marcus have seen this courtroom twist coming? Comment number 1 if you think he's still got a shot against this corrupt system. Hit that like button if you're raging at this injustice. And subscribe so you don't miss the next fight, because it's about to explode. Can Marcus dodge this warrant? Or is the mob just the start of his downfall? Marcus Tate floors the gas of a borrowed FBI sedan. The engine snarls at 90 miles per hour as he tears west from El Paso's courthouse steps. The crumpled warrant for evidence tampering is still clenched in his fist. Blood from his reopened shoulder wound smears the ink where the mob's bottle sliced through his suit 30 minutes ago. The desert stretches endlessly under the noon sun, blazing at 92 degrees Fahrenheit, 350 miles from Houston. The sedan's AC strains against the heat as dust swirls across Interstate 10. His white shirt is soaked red again, his navy jacket torn at the seam. His 6 feet 2 inches frame is hunched over the wheel, every jolt of the road spiking pain through his bruised ribs and throbbing jaw from Hensley's precinct beating 2 nights ago. The fake warrant from Judge Heron Voss, a Hensley crony, burns in his mind. A legal trap sprung hours after Hensley's 10-year conviction. Proof that this war is deeper than one rogue cop, and the mob slurs, "Cop killer, black bastard," still echo, merging with the sniper note. "You're next, traitor," into a chorus of hate. He can't outrun it. His hazel eyes flick to the rear view. Hayes and 3 agents trail a mile back in a black SUV, too far to close the gap fast. The burner in his pocket buzzes. Hayes's voice crackles. Lena and Jamal's charges are stalled. Voss's crew is blocking us. Where you at? Marcus grits his teeth. 10 miles out. Desert's my shot to lose him. Because the statewide alert from the precinct frame-up, wanted for assaulting officers, has every badge in Texas hunting him. And that mob's rage means Hensley's loyalists aren't done either. He's 300 miles from that first stop on Highway 80, 12 hours into a nightmare. It's cost him everything. Lena, Jamal, his name, and now he's racing blind. The sedan's tank holds 8 gallons, just enough to reach a safe house if he can shake the tail he knows is coming. The horizon shimmers, heat waves dancing, when headlights flare behind him. 2 cruisers, no sirens, just relentless speed closing in fast at 110 miles per hour. He squints, spotting El Paso PD markings, and curses Hensley's dogs because these aren't just random patrols. They're leftovers from the precinct, either sprung or bribed since the raid. He pushes the sedan to 100, tires humming, but the road dips into a dry wash, sand drifting and narrowing it to a choke point. The lead cruiser rams his bumper, metal crunching as the sedan fishtails. His shoulder slams into the door, blood soaking the bandage, but the second cruiser rams again, harder, and the wheel jerks. He fights it, but the sand drags, and the sedan flips, rolling twice with a scream of steel, glass exploding as it lands upside down, 50 feet off the road. Dust chokes the air in a thick yellow haze. Marcus hangs from the seatbelt, head spinning, blood dripping onto the roof. His Glock is wedged under the dash, out of reach. The scene snaps into focus. The desert standoff from 12 hours ago. The flipped silver sedan now a wreck. Hands raised as the cruisers screech up. Officers like Grayson and Tom Burke leap out, guns drawn, flashlights blinding him through the haze. Grayson yells out, "Now!" And Marcus coughs, tasting blood. He unbuckles slowly. His ribs scream, his shoulders are a fire pit, but he staggers out, hands up, mirroring that first night. Grayson spits. "Thought you'd lock Vic up and walk away." Burke swings a baton, the same one Hensley used, cracking Marcus's temple with a wet thud that drops him to his knees, blood streaming into his eyes. He gasps, "You're finished. FBI's coming." Grayson laughs, not fast enough, and kicks him flat, boots crunching the sand as Marcus rolls. Vision blurs, their gun barrels inches from his head, but he smirks through the pain. "You're digging your graves," he mutters, stalling as chopper blades thrum in the distance. Faint, but growing. Hayes' team is closing the 50-meter gap. He braces, buying seconds, but then tires screech again. Not FBI. A dozen gunmen in black tactical gear spill from 3 vans, 30 yards off, rifles blazing. Bullets tear into the cruisers as Grayson dives, shouting, "What the hell?" Burke spins, firing back, but a round catches his chest, dropping him dead in the sand. Grayson bolts, vanishing into the scrub as the gunmen advance, their shots pinning Marcus behind the wreck, lead ricocheting off the sedan's frame. He crawls, ribs grinding, snagging his Glock from the dash. 6 rounds left, and returns fire, 2 gunmen dropping as the choppers roar near, floodlights cutting through the dust. The attackers falter, scattering, as Hayes' team lands, agents leaping out, rifles barking. The gunmen retreat, vans peeling off, leaving 3 bodies and a burning cruiser. Marcus staggers up, blood-soaked, Glock trembling. Hayes grabs him. "Who were they?" Marcus shakes his head. "Not Hensley's boys." His voice is hoarse as he clutches the 6-shot Glock, 2 rounds left, retrieved from the dash during the firefight. Hayes kneels, prying a wallet from a gunman's tack vest. Texas ID, no name, just a number and a logo, a coiled snake over a star. He mutters, "Hired muscle. Someone big's bankrolling this." Marcus wipes blood from his brow. The baton sting flares as he remembers Hensley's precinct rant. "Tell Voss to bury the wife's case." And the sniper's note, "You're next, traitor." It's a web. Hensley's just a thread, and those gunmen that warrant point to a puppet master pulling levers from higher up. Hayes drags a wounded gunman from the wreckage, zip-tying his wrists. The man's mid-30s, buzz cut, a snake tattoo curling up his neck. Marcus looms over him, Glock steady. "Who sent you?" The gunman coughs, blood flecking his lips, and rasps. "Warren, Mayor Warren, wanted you silenced. Reforms threatening his cash." He slumps, breath fading. Hayes curses. "Clyde Warren, El Paso's kingpin." Marcus nods, pieces clicking. Warren, 58, silver-haired, a 3-term mayor with a mansion overlooking the city. A man who's shaken his hand, all smiles and lies, running drugs, bribes, and cops like Hensley to keep reformers like Marcus buried. He grabs a wire from Hayes, a tiny mic clipped to his collar. 90 minutes later, he's cleaned up, blood washed off, a fresh shirt from an agent's kit stretched tight over his bruised frame. He's rolling solo into El Paso in a borrowed SUV, 40 miles from the ambush site. The sun dips to 88 degrees Fahrenheit as dusk settles near Warren's mansion, perched on a bluff, a sprawling stucco fortress with rough iron gates guarded by 2 suits packing concealed 9mm. Marcus flashes his FBI badge. Official business. They wave him through, underestimating the bloodied man with a limp as he parks near a fountain spewing crystal water, a stark contrast to the desert's grit. Inside, the air's cool at 70 degrees Fahrenheit, marble floors gleaming under chandeliers. Warren greets him in a study, a broad man in a tailored suit, gray hair slicked back, sipping bourbon from a crystal glass. His smile tightens. Marcus is rough, weak, and hears about Hensley, his tone dripping with mock pity. Marcus sits, the wire humming, and cuts in. "Spare me. I know you hired those gunmen, framed my family, ran Hensley like a dog." Warren chuckles, swirling his drink, unfazed. He leans back, his voice smooth. "You're a problem, Tate. FBI sniffing around my deals, pushing reforms. Cartels pay me millions to keep El Paso open. Cops in line. Hensley was cheap. Voss, cheaper. But you, too clean, too loud." Marcus clenches his fists, ribs aching as Warren brags. 10 years I've owned this state. Judges, sheriffs, feds. Your raid's a hiccup. I'll bury you, your wife, your kid, like I've buried a dozen before." His eyes gleam with a predator's glee. Every word a recorded confession Marcus knows will crack this empire wide open. He stands. "Why live to Hayes' team 40 miles out? That's enough. FBI's got you." Warren's smile fades, replaced by a cold stare. He snaps his fingers, and the study doors burst open. 10 militia in black fatigues storm in, AR-15s blazing, bullets shredding the oak desk. Marcus dives, rolling behind a bookshelf as glass shatters around him. His Glock is out. 2 shots drop one gunman, blood pooling on the marble. Warren bolts through a side door, shouting, "Kill him!" As the militia closes in, 9 left. Their rounds chew through the walls, splinters flying. Marcus scrambles, ribs screaming, shoulder bleeding fresh through the bandage. He fires again. 1 bullet grazing a gunman's leg, the other pinging off a chandelier. They flank him, boots thumping, and he's pinned. The wire crackles as Hayes yells, "Hold on. 10 minutes out." But 10 minutes is a lifetime when barrels gleam 3 feet away. Marcus thinks of Warren's words on tape, but this ambush flips it. Hensley's jail cells are a sideshow. Warren's the prize. Now Marcus is cornered, bleeding, 1 round left. The mansion is a kill box he might not walk out of. Marcus crouches behind a splintered bookshelf in Mayor Clyde Warren's opulent study. The air is thick with gun smoke and the tang of blood as 9 black-clad militia close in, their AR-15s spitting fire. 40 miles from El Paso's desert ambush, dusk settles at 85 degrees Fahrenheit outside the mansion's stucco walls. But inside, it's a furnace, 70 degrees Fahrenheit spiked by adrenaline and the deafening crack of bullets shredding marble and oak. His white shirt is a crimson ruin, his shoulder bleeding through the sniper's graze from yesterday, his ribs grinding from Hensley's baton 2 nights ago. His 6'2" frame presses low, Glock trembling with 1 round left. The wire on his collar crackles as Hayes's voice cuts through. 5 minutes out. Hold on. But 5 minutes is an eternity when barrels gleam 3 feet away. Warren's confession, "I've owned this state, buried a dozen like you," still echoes on the feed. A jackpot Marcus can't cash if he's dead. Glass shards from the shattered chandelier crunch under his dress shoes as he shifts, his hazel eyes darting. 9 gunmen are fanned out, 2 flanking left, 3 right, for straight ahead. Their boots thump as Warren's voice shouts, "Kill him!" echoes from the hall where he fled. Marcus's mind races, 20 years of FBI training boiling down to this. He spots a bourbon bottle on the floor, Warren's crystal glass, cracked but full. He grabs it, hurling it left with a flick of his wrist. It smashes against a wall, liquor splashing, and 2 gunmen spin, firing at the noise. A split-second distraction. He seizes it, lunging right. His last bullet punches through a gunman's throat, blood spraying as the man drops, rifle clattering. Marcus snatches it, 15 rounds in the mag, rolling as bullets chew through the bookshelf, splinters stinging his cheek. He opens fire, short bursts, dropping 2 more. Their bodies crumple to the marble with wet thuds. 6 left. They pivot, closing fast, but he's moving, diving behind a leather sofa. The stuffing explodes as rounds tear through. He pops up, 3 shots, 3 hits, chest, head, chest. 3 down, 3 standing. Their shouts turn to curses as he flanks using the room's pillars. A 4th falling to a double tap, blood pooling under the chandelier wreckage. The last one charges, swinging a knife, but Marcus's rifle clicks empty. He ducks, slamming the stock into the man's jaw, bone cracking as he spins, grabbing the knife midair and plunging it into the second's gut. A gurgling choke as the gunman collapses. The study is silent except for the drip of blood and the distant thrum of chopper blades. Marcus staggers, ribs screaming, shoulder a firestorm. He grabs a spare mag from a corpse, reloads, and limps after Warren, kicking through the side door into a garage. The mayor's scrambling for a black Escalade, keys jangling. Marcus fires a warning shot. The tire pops and Warren freezes, hands up, silver hair wild. "You're done, Tate, my men." But Marcus cuts him off. "Your men are dead," dragging him back as Hayes's chopper lands outside. Agents storm in, cuffs snapping on Warren's wrists. Live feeds catch it. News vans swarm the gates, 40 yards off, broadcasting Warren's fall statewide. His empire of drugs, bribes, and corrupt cops is crumbling in real time as Marcus stands, bloodied but unbroken. The wire's tape is a sledgehammer to El Paso's rot. Deputies haul Hensley's puppet master to a convoy. His tailored suit rumpled, his resolve shattered, Marcus leans on Hayes's shoulder, pulse racing. "Get Lena and Jamal out now." Hayes nods. Charges dropped. They're free. Voss's crew folds in. A victory carved from 12 hours of hell since that Highway 80 stop. Hensley's decade of control is now a footnote to Warren's collapse. Dust settles, sirens wail, and Marcus limps toward the convoy, the sun dipping below the bluff. He's won. The war's over. Justice clawed back from a system that tried to bury him, his family, his name. But as agents load Warren into a vehicle, a figure steps from an SUV. Lena, her braid frayed, her brown eyes hollow. Jamal stands beside her, clutching a backpack, his 12-year-old face streaked with tears. Marcus stumbles forward, relief flooding him until Lena holds up her hand, stopping him 10 feet away. Her voice is flat. "We're done, Marcus." She hands him an envelope, divorce papers, crisp despite the chaos. Her words cut deeper than any bullet. "You saved the world, not us. I can't live like this." Jamal can't. He stares at the papers, trembling. Blood stains the seal on the envelope as it slips from his fingers. His mind goes blank as she turns. Jamal glances back, his eyes wet but hard. She walks away, her silhouette shrinking against the convoy's lights, the sun trailing behind her. Marcus stands frozen, the Glock slipping from his hand and into the sand. The weight of it all crashes down. Hensley's in jail. Warren's finished. The cartel's cash flow cut off. But his family is gone. The cost of a fight he didn't start but couldn't stop. Sirens fade. Agents shout orders and Marcus is left alone. Victorious but hollow. The desert swallows the last of the day as Lena's car vanishes down the bluff. He's toppled giants, rewritten justice, but lost the one thing he swore to protect. A twist sharper than any sniper's aim. Marcus Tate's journey through 12 brutal hours, from a racist traffic stop on Highway 80 to toppling Mayor Clyde Warren's corrupt empire, teaches us that justice isn't a gift, it's a battle. Racism isn't just slurs or batons. It's a system woven into badges, courts, and mobs, ready to crush anyone who dares challenge it. Marcus, a black FBI director, faced it head-on. Hensley's cuffs, a smeared video, mobs planting drugs on his family. Each blow worse than the last. Each victory undone by a deeper betrayal. Prejudice doesn't die quietly. Claws back with every tool at its disposal. His resilience shines through, picking locks, rallying agents, recording Warren's confession, showing that strength and cunning can defy even the most rigged odds. But at a cost. The twist of Lena's divorce papers reveals a brutal truth. Fighting for the greater good can hollow out the personal, leaving scars no badge can heal. Corruption, too, isn't one man. It's a network, from Hensley's fists to Warren's millions, thriving on silence until someone like Marcus rips it open. Yet his win, jailing Hensley, exposing Warren, sparks hope. One voice, relentlessly loud, can crack a rotten foundation. The lesson? Justice demands sacrifice. But it's worth it if it wakes a system that slept too long on the backs of the oppressed. So what do you think? Did Marcus pay too high a price for justice? Or was it the only way to break this cycle? Comment below, hit that like button if this story fired you up, and subscribe and share to keep these tales alive. Your voice matters. Thanks for sticking with us through this wild ride. We're grateful for each one of you. Here's to standing tall against injustice. Stay strong and keep fighting the good fight.